Well, as the title of this video suggests, we are going to be talking about Maryland Medicare supplement plans today. We've got probably well over 1,000 clients in Maryland that we've been fortunate enough to speak with over the last 11 years. In fact, two new ones just this week, John and Dottie. If you're watching, hello. Now, I'm going to be talking not just about the Medicare supplement plans in Maryland, but one company in particular, which I just signed them up with, which if you're in Maryland and you're watching and you're on a Medicare supplement plan, you absolutely want to learn about this company. In fact, it's the only company in Maryland that I try to write for everybody due to their low premiums and even lower rate increases. My name is Russell Noga. I'm the founder of Medisupps.com, and we're an online independent agency for Medicare supplement insurance, licensed in about 47 states. I already told you how many clients we've got in Maryland. I've been doing business there since I got into Medicare supplement insurance as a broker. And for the last 11 years, been helping people like yourself to get the very best coverage for the lowest premiums, especially when you get that rate increase letter every year. You know, what I find amazing when it comes to Medicare supplement plans in Maryland is the fact that there's a total population of about 6 million people in Maryland, and nearly 900,000 of them are on original Medicare Part A and B. I found that amazing, which is fantastic. That means you didn't go for a Medicare Advantage plan. You kept A and B Medicare, original Medicare, and many of you probably have a Medigap plan as well. Now, I'll start with just the basics of Medicare for all of our friends there who are coming on and just turning 65, or maybe you worked a couple extra years and you're retiring now and just coming on a Medicare for the first time. You're going to have Part A and B Medicare like those 900,000 other people. Now, Part A covers hospitalization and Part B covers doctor services. These are what's called parts of Medicare. Those two combined, A and B, equal original Medicare. So original Medicare is kind of like the hub of all of your other coverage. It will surround that. And that includes things like a Part D drug plan as well as a Medicare supplement plan. Now, A and B don't cover all your bills. Remember, A covers hospital, B covers doctor services. However, there are deductibles, coinsurance, and copays within those that you are required to pay. Those are called gaps of Medicare or expenses. Now, what does a Medigap do? Well, it helps pay some or all of those expenses. The plans we'll be looking at today are the two of the most popular, with a third that actually went away in January 1st of 2020, but I'll cover the details of those and how they exactly pay most of those gaps. I'll actually start with Medicare Supplement Plan F. Now, this is the plan that Medicare removed January 1st of 2020. No new beneficiaries who are eligible for Medicare on that date or newer can enroll in a Medicare Plan F. Now, I know there's a lot of you out there in Maryland watching this right now who do, in fact, still have Plan F. You are allowed to keep it, of course. And why not? It's got 100% coverage. Well, I'll tell you a few reasons why you might want to consider changing that and seeing if we can get you onto a Plan G. The biggest reason is the extra premiums you're paying. 100% coverage, yes, but the difference between Plan F and Plan G, which I'm going to get into the details of that, there's only one difference, and that is who pays the Medicare Part B deductible. Now, Plan F pays that for you. And we're in 2020 now, and that deductible is $198. So that's the only difference between Plan F and Plan G is $198 benefit. Plan F pays that for you. On Plan G, you write the check and you pay the first $198 of your medical bills in 2020 yourself. This deductible is going to go up a little next year. Let's talk about the premiums, though, of Plan F. You're paying far more than $198 extra to have a Plan F in premiums rather than a Plan G. This means every dollar you pay extra over the $198 is them keeping your money. In other words, if you pay $400 extra a year, which is about the average on Plan F, to keep your Plan F, just to have them write a check with $200 of your money and keep the other $200, that is what I call an expensive service fee. You're giving them an extra $200 to write a check with your money of another $200 just to pay the Part B deductible. On Plan G, you only have one out-of-pocket expense, and that is that Part B deductible, but the premiums are far lower than Plan F. And Plan G also has lower rate increases each year because Plan F is what's called a closed risk pool. They're bound to have higher rate increases. It's just a mathematical certainty. So I would highly consider you look at Medicare Supplement Plan G if you kept your Plan F. So that's talking about the folks who did keep Plan F. Let's talk about you new folks, new to Medicare. Welcome aboard. We're here to make sure you don't overpay in your coverage and you get the best coverage to match your needs now and for years to come. Well, Medicare Plan G is definitely the most popular plan right now, especially since Plan F is not available to folks like yourself just turning 65 or new to Medicare. Plan G, like I mentioned, has one small deductible. It's the Part B deductible. Now, also, like I mentioned, in 2020, that deductible is $198. In 2021, it's going to go up a little. It does every year. It goes up just a tad. We don't know what it's going to be. Medicare doesn't tell us until toward the end of the year. However, those rules are going to remain the same. You simply pay that first deductible amount of your medical bills, and then you get 100% coverage from Medicare and Plan G on all Medicare-approved expenses for the rest of the year, and that's up to no limit. Now, this deductible is a calendar year deductible. It means you pay it once, you're good for the rest of the calendar year, and then in January, it will reset again. So let's cover the next most popular plan, which is Medicare Plan N. Now, Plan N, especially this year, a lot of people are going to be looking at this seriously, and for good reason. Plan N has lower premiums than Plan G. Now, you don't get identical coverage, of course. With lower premiums equals a little less coverage, but I'll talk about what that coverage is and how you might have some additional out-of-pocket expenses. But the premiums average about $20 to $30 less per month on Plan N. Now, what do you have to pay? Well, you still pay the Medicare Part B deductible, just like you do on Plan G. And keep in mind, the plans in Maryland are no different than the plans in just about every other state out there. A Plan G is the same no matter where you go, as is a Plan N. So you still pay that Part B deductible on Plan N like you do with Plan G. However, after you meet that deductible, throughout the rest of the calendar year, you might have a small copay per doctor's visit if you have a Plan N. Now, the copay will never be more than $20. It could be less than $20 per visit, and it could be no copay. That includes a doctor and a specialist. However, you could get the copay, it could be nothing, and after that, Plan N is still going to pay 20% of your medical bills. Another out-of-pocket expense on Plan N is if you visit the emergency room and you're not admitted, there will be a $50 copay. As well, Plan N doesn't cover Part B excess charges. Now, these are very rare. If your doctor does not take the assigned rates for Medicare, which most do in the country, they can charge a small percentage higher, and you would have to pay a small portion of that on Plan N. So this plan is great for people who don't go to the doctor often. I have a lot of clients that love Plan N because they get to save on those lower premiums, and they don't go to the doctor very often. They're very healthy. If that's you and you're in Maryland, then Plan N is definitely something we should look at. So I did mention that I would tell you about my favorite company in Maryland, and this is probably the best company you never heard of. One of the main reasons you may not have heard of it is because they don't pay agents a lot of commission. I've been doing this 11 years with helping over 10,000 people with their supplement coverage, and I have always suggested this company at the top of my list with a couple others, depending on if they're in your state. However, they happen to be in Maryland, and they are thriving. And this is a fantastic company. The name is Philadelphia American Life Insurance. Now, again, you may not have heard of this company because agents don't like to tell people about them. They don't make as much money on them. I don't care about that. The big thing is that you are a satisfied client of mine for years and years to come. And in those years, I provide the best service possible. Now, Philadelphia American has not only the lowest premiums in Maryland right now, however, they also maintain some of the lowest rate increases every year. Why is this important? Well, most companies give a 12-month lock-in on your premium. For the first year, you pay the same amount every month. Come month 11, you're going to get a letter in the mailbox, maybe an email as well. You'll definitely get an email from us because this is just how it works with Medicare supplement insurance. Each company is going to have a rate increase. Now, that rate increase is based on a number of different factors of the group you're in. It's never based on your own health claims. A lot of people think, oh, I went to the doctor 6 times this year. I had a bad year. They're raising my rates. That's not how it works. I assure you, I promise you that's not how it works, even though it seems that way sometimes. The rates are based on the amount of claims being paid out of the group you're in versus premiums coming in. Philadelphia American who is part of New Era Life Insurance, they have maintained some of the lowest rate increases I've ever seen in 11 years. It is very rare that I move a client off of them because their rate increase was too high. Not a lot of companies I can say that for out there, and believe me, I've been doing this a long time. But Philadelphia American has factors in place that keep the rate increases low. They care about the client, you, so much that they don't even pay us that much money compared to some of the other companies. However, again, it's not about that. If you are in the state of Maryland, then please give me a call. And if you don't have Philadelphia American, either way, we can shop your rate. However, I want to give you the chance to be able to get on with this company because they are that good. And don't just take my word for it. I'm going to show you. I like to back things up with proof and rationality and reason. I'm going to show you some rates from the top 3 cities in terms of population you guys have. And I'll show you the difference and who comes out first every time on the most popular plan. That is Plan G. So let's go ahead and show you those rates now. So here we are on our quoting engine. This is exactly how I'm going to find rates for you when you give me a call and we shop all the companies for you in Maryland. Now, we're in Germantown, one of the, I have never been there personally, but I hear it's pretty cool. And the 20874 zip, and this is for a female, age 65, no tobacco, and Plan G. Now, these are the factors that we have to use for running rates for everybody and how the insurance carriers determine what the rates will be for everybody in the country. It's based on zip code, age, tobacco use, and gender, and whether or not you qualify for a household discount. Different insurance carriers all have their different rules on their household discount, and it varies by state. It varies by sometimes the spouse has to be applying, sometimes you just have to live with them and they have to be a certain age, and sometimes you can live with anybody who's any age and still get a discount. Now, we know all that, so we can help direct you to the company that will have the lowest premiums and possibly some of those benefits. Now, Philadelphia American does offer a 6% household discount. However, I'll show you the rates just as an individual first, so I can show you why I think they are, well, one of the reasons why I think they're absolutely your best choice in Maryland. Now, again, we've got the 65-year-old no tobacco here in Germantown, and this is without a household discount. As you can see, they come out on top, $123.30 a month. And now, every Medicare supplement company offers the same Plan G or Plan N. They all have different rates for it. So you're going to see, about to see the rates as I show you of how much they can vary for the exact same thing. So as I mentioned, Philadelphia American Life Insurance, the best rate at $123.30 and some of the lowest rate increases, if not the lowest rate increases. I would feel highly confident. In fact, I do. We're based in Austin, Texas. I put all my friends, family, and relatives wherever Philadelphia American is offered, and it's in about 20 states or more now. I put them with Philadelphia American the first chance I get. That's how much I love this company because they've shown me how they keep these nice low rate increases. But as you can see, some other companies you may have heard of. Here's AARP United Healthcare at $130. Transamerica, they're not even offering supplement insurance anymore. Aetna, $132, and upwards we go. Here's Mutual of Omaha at $147. Let's just take that for example. $147 versus $123. That is $24 a month difference for the exact same coverage. And I'll just show you the other extreme where we have up to $177 with that particular company for the same Plan G. So $50, $54 more a month for the same thing. But let's try another zip code. That's for you folks in Germantown. Let's go ahead to Baltimore and a 21281 zip code. Same Plan G. We'll go ahead and run that and we'll see who comes out on top then. Well, once again, same rate actually, Philadelphia American. And kind of the same usual suspects here with their same higher rates. Now, let's do one more, and just to cover another part, we'll do Columbia. 20588 zip. And let's see what the rates come out there. I think it's going to be pretty similar, if not exactly the same. Here we are again, Philadelphia American, $123.30. And again, it is not just about who has the lowest premium to begin with. Different companies had what's called different underwriting guidelines. And this means if you're outside an initial enrollment period for a Medicare supplement plan, this means they have to take you, they have to give you the coverage, no medical questions asked. And that happens when you first enroll in Medicare. You've got 6 months when you first come onto Medicare where you can get on a supplement, no questions asked, which is why I mentioned to you folks who are just turning 65, call me. Let's get you on with this company. I don't care about the commission. I want to be able to call you next year and the year after and the year after and say, nice low rate increases, we're still with the best option. And I do that with my clients on Philadelphia American. So as you can see, it's not just about where you start though, it's when you get those rate increases. And I don't want to have the calls where maybe you're coming off, believe me, I get these calls, we get them all week long, every day. Somebody will call and say, I'm paying $180 for Plan G or $210 and they're only 67, 68, sometimes 70 years old. And when we run the rates like this, we can save them $50, $60. Let's start you with the best company and the lowest premiums, especially in Maryland, with a company like Philadelphia American. So those are some sample rates in Maryland. However, I know I couldn't cover every zip code that's there. So to get rates now, give me a call. I'll be happy to, just a matter of 5 minutes, show you what the rates are for you. Now, maybe there's a zip code Philadelphia American's not the best option, but I'll match them up with the other companies. We'll factor in how low their rate increases are, and we'll make the best decision based on your own personal situation. So again, my name is Russell Noga with Medisupps.com. You can call us direct at 1-888-891-0229. And we will shop all those rates for you. I'll tell you how much Philadelphia American is in Maryland, and hopefully we can get you on with them. This is whether you're turning 65 or even if you have a Medicare supplement now with another company, let's see if we can get you on with them. Yes, you will have to answer medical questions to switch your plan, but you can do this anytime during the year. You don't have to wait till October, that enrollment period. And Philadelphia American, like all companies, they ask the medical questions. Let's just see. I wouldn't worry too much about it. We have other options as well to save you money. Each company has different underwriting guidelines, but it's worth checking. So let's go ahead and do that today. Give us a call. Thanks for watching from the great state of Maryland. I can't wait to talk to you soon.